Vijay Venkatraman for the invitation and for making me part of this important event. To start with, I want to say that today, 20th December, is a very important day because it is the very first day. Last year, we started a formal association with Dr. Kalai and PVPI. So, from the Indian Society of Clinical Research, it is although it is predominantly from the industry, it is a professional society which has professionals involved in clinical research and related research. So the ISCR wanted to have a unit which would look into pharmacovigilance. So we first started as a pharmacovigilance working group, and the first thought that we had was pharmacovigilance as such within India. There are different aspects of pharmacovigilance that we can look into. One is the government side of it, that is the Pharmacovigilance Program of India. So that from 2010 it has been there, so that we've been talking about. Then there is another huge challenge potential which is coming from the outsourcing industry because of the global outsourcing industry. Now, I'm not sure how many of you know, India is considered the global pharmacovigilance hub in terms of outsourcing, and many countries, many companies across the globe have outsourced the activities, and most of it is happening in India. So this is one talent that has happened over the past 6-7 years, and parallelly we have Indian representatives of multinational companies like the ones like Boehringer represented by my colleague Hindu, and there are many other companies, and then there is another spectrum of Indian headquartered generic companies which market their drugs in Europe and the US. So we have distinct types of pharmacovigilance stakeholders within the pharmaceutical industry itself. And then apart from that, we have the physicians, we have the clinical investigators, and then the CROs and the academia, and of course for the clinical trials it's the CDSCO. So that way we have so many stakeholders. So what we thought was we wanted to bring all the stakeholders on the same platform. And to the best of my knowledge, I think that was the first event which had all the stakeholders, which happened in Mumbai last December 20th. And in this 1 year, I think we have come a long way. And as Hindu had highlighted in her presentation, like there has been a very healthy relationship between PVPI and ISCR. So as such, ISCR, as I said, it's a professional association. So what we are trying to do is, last year what we did was an introduction. So that is to bring together every stakeholder on the same platform, create an environment for them to interact with each other. Now, this year in September, Hindu also showed that still where Kalai was speaking at that event in Bangalore on September 25th. This year we went a little deeper and we went into role of different professional societies and how we could learn from our global counterparts in pharmacovigilance who are sitting right here. They are not across the seas, they are in Bangalore and Mumbai, in Hyderabad, in our own country. So we had a little more detailed discussion. So I am deliberately avoiding the points highlighted by Hindu because I don't want to repeat. But much water has flown under the river, under the bridge over the past 1 year. So now ISCR, what it feels is we have achieved a certain level of relationship with the PVPI and the Indian pharmacovigilance system per se. So now to take it to the next level, what we want to understand is to get different stakeholders' perspectives and to work with them to bring all of them on the same page. And for example, some of the activities that we are planning are, one would be to work with pharmacists associations and various medical associations, specialty medical associations, in order to provide them a pharmacovigilance awareness. So that is on the angle, and we are in discussion. Another angle is to share the best practices from our global counterparts within the council, because the council has members from almost all the MNC pharmaceutical companies. So their best practices we wish to share with the Indian pharmaceutical counterparts. So that we wish to work with the Indian Drug Manufacturers Association and the associations of the pharmaceutical producers. So these are aspirations that we have. To start with, in this March, we plan to have an activity where we would collaborate with Indian pharmaceutical manufacturers to provide them awareness on TB. So these are certain things that have happened. And I have a couple of suggestions to PVPI. So one thing, as Indu had rightly highlighted, it's about the mandate. So we understand as industry people that when we go to industry and ask them to report, like what is the punishment if I don't have a pharmacovigilance system? That is the question that comes up. So I would request that we have CDSCO representatives here, Dr. here. So maybe if we could hasten the process of bringing in pharmacovigilance regulations for India with legal binding for pharmaceutical companies, because I wish to highlight this point because it is not so easy to regulate the physicians and healthcare professionals and to mandate them to report ADRs, because it is very difficult, and like if you for fear of being questioned, they might start reporting fake ADRs also. And even if they don't report, it is between a doctor and a patient, it's very difficult to identify. So maybe or rather from our council, what we feel is that for the healthcare professionals, what we need is motivation, and for the industry, what we need is a mandate. So I would request that to be considered on priority. The PV regulations for India in the lines of the EU GDP guidelines, which have now been adopted by many countries. For example, Saudi Arabia and different Middle East countries have as such adopted the EU guidelines, and they have enforced them just like that. It's not without its complications, it's not easy to do it overnight, but they have still done it, and they are having their own problems because of that, but still they have done it. So maybe that is one thing which I wish to highlight here. And regarding PSUR beyond 4 years, you had indicated that in the presentation. So again, from the GVP, if we see like after a period of time, it becomes every 3 years or every 5 years. At least there is some periodicity where there is still an opportunity to submit a PSUR, and it is not just over after 4 years. So these kind of things maybe we would be very happy if you could consider that. And regarding the medical associations also, like I had an opportunity personally to interact with Dr. and through my membership with the Indian Medical Association, we tried to, we have already started working with the Indian Medical Association, but maybe the best way to go forward would be to work with the specific specialty associations, like Association of Physicians of India, Surgeons of India. That way we may have to
there is a question which I had for Kavesarwan, which he did not mention in his presentation. Probably for the reason that it was beyond the scope of his theme of how pharmacists can integrate. Recently, we had a meeting with the IMA, its head office, Dr. G.N. Singh, and the General Secretary of IMA. I had the opportunity to be present there. There is a much larger plan being rolled out with the partnership between the IMA and PVPI. That's the offer.
Finally, the point about I will again wish to highlight the presence of the outsourcing industry and the huge level of work that is going on for global companies in India. With this talent, maybe it should be used for India. So there is a discrepancy because there is so much of talent in India which is working for overseas. If we could utilize the same talent for India, for supporting PVPI, that is something that I wish we should consider. And finally, before ending, I would like to highlight regarding collecting more adverse events. One of the easiest way which we could do is to mandate pharmaceutical companies to do literature monitoring, because that is an activity that they are doing for US and EU. That is the activity that delivers most of the ICSRs in many companies, because the spontaneous reports other than literature are very less. So this is something that we could consider. So these are the points I want to share.
So since you have taken the points on the law, I would like to state that serious adverse events during clinical trial are definitely being monitored, basically for compensation matters. But that also becomes the PD data for CDSU for approval of new. Secondly, we have also prepared PPE guidelines for vaccine. You must have seen that on our website. And since vaccines are always new drugs and the serious adverse events are to be reported in the form of PSURs on a continual basis, there's a committee which sits and reviews the serious adverse events. And most of you may not be aware that the PSUR, which is mentioned as the sidelines or the headings and the schedule wise, is very limited. It has no flesh to it, and that is the reason why we have PSUR guidance for the industry. But we also have a committee which looks into the SAEs from the company cycle, not just from the company cycle, but all the literature data that has been gathered. So companies are required to make presentations to the committee, where PPPI is also a member. The industry makes its presentation and CDSO is there. So it's mandatory for vaccine manufacturers to make presentation with the literature survey and the spontaneous reports that they have gathered so far, and the signals coming from PPPI, as well as the AFI division of UIP. And I think this has worked well. We have so far reviewed the new vaccines that have been recently launched in the country, including coronavirus, and we will be looking into other vaccines. But of course, the challenges are why PPE only for new drugs, why not for the generic drugs? And this is a question for the industry, and somewhere we need to start. And wherever we go as their regulator, it's like, yes, we are happy that India is exporting drugs to so many countries, but it also means that to gather so much of safety assessment, do so much of safety assessment also, not just for the Indian population, but which is going broadly exported. So if this has been made a legal binding for several companies sitting in India and exporting their generic products, they see it is also incumbent on them to gather the SAEs that are happening not just in their country but also in India. And therefore, I think at this time that the industry should go full throttle, not just for new drugs, but for the molecules which are already in the market. And I think perhaps we should make a guideline on it. This conference like this can be such a sort of key elements as to what will be the best way for a country like India where generic drugs are in the market, already being marketed, and they have huge potential for generic. And each one of us as an individual, we realize that we are going to have the whole system, healthcare system, in assessing a safety of the molecule. I think they will be able to provide the API reports in a manner which will be more authentic. I'm not saying that industry should not be product to gather the SAEs, but it is the patients who can give the data better rather than just the industry. Industry can share the information, and generally the rules were wrong. India is always trying to look at how to overcome that. The best way is to have guidance and building up from the patient level one of the areas that are happening in the country. Yes, of course, CDSO is also with the UKI partnering and providing guidance for PSUs for other than vaccines. And that way, it will for the
From our council, we will be very happy to collaborate and support you in whatever possible way from the industry.
I have few suggestions to society, Indian Society of Clinical Research. There are few suggestions to you. We are very thankful for your support in terms of creating awareness and pharmacovigilance. We are very happy to know that. And the second thing, we would, as Madam said, benefit risk and to ensure that quality ICSR needs to be initiated at the level of ADR marketing center level. So now we will be more than happy if you support our ADR marketing centers phase-wise, not all centers at a time. You take few centers, for example, Bangalore, you take 5-6 centers in the next 6 months, and you train them benefit risk assessment and the quality ICSRs, generating new safety signals. So I think this is one of the proposal from the Society of Clinical Research.
We'll be very glad to do that, sir.
So in that, some of the other logistics like finance and other things will be worked out. But since you said your society is no benefit, not for the national cause, so these are the proposals from Indian Pharmacovigilance Commission to strengthen our ADR marketing center in terms of benefit risk assessment and quality assessment.
I have a quick question to Vishal. It's not more than this conversation. So we all